Okay. Next up, we have Katie Bernard and her venture, ExamWell. Katie?
Hi everyone, my name is Katie and I'm the founder of ExamWell. I am dedicated to reducing teacher burnout by providing customizable, high-quality exam questions. My goal is to empower educators, freeing up time for teaching and allowing students to engage with more effective and meaningful assessments. As a graduating senior, I can say with certainty that teachers have been some of the most valuable and influential people in my life. I founded ExamWell out of a deep desire to give back to those who have shaped me. As a computer science and creative writing student, I combine the technical expertise and the creative leadership necessary to build ExamWell into an impactful productivity tool for teachers. Today, we're facing a crisis. Teachers are quitting at alarming rates due to burnout, and districts across the country are struggling to retain their educators. Teachers work on average 53 hours per week. That's 7 more than the typical American. 76% of those teachers are unsatisfied with their working hours, and teachers are 40% more likely to experience anxiety than other working professionals. The worst part is the long, uncompensated hours that teachers are putting in outside of the classroom. About a quarter of teacher time is unpaid, and while pay increases seem like the most logical option, studies show that pay and hours worked are interrelated, suggesting that pay increases alone without changes to working hours are unlikely to bring about large shifts in teachers' well-being and desire to leave the profession. Students are facing these consequences too. Overworked teachers are less available for personalized feedback, adapting lessons to individual needs, and truly connecting with their classrooms. One teacher I spoke to said that he wished that he had more time for item analysis for his class, but he was already stretched too thin. Another mentioned her working hours encroaching deeply into her personal life. My question was, why? What are teachers spending all of this extra time on? I interviewed over 30 educators to find out. Teachers are spending, on average, 4 hours per exam creating tests, quizzes, homework sets, practice problems, you name it. They can't reuse materials from past years because each year brings new students with a different pace and different struggles, and often teachers like to tailor their assessments to their specific class that year by targeting common mistakes and learning gaps that they're seeing in student work and one-on-one conversations with those students. And also, teachers can't reuse tests year to year to maintain test integrity and prevent students from cheating off of previously released exams. Creating a quality question is hard. Teachers have to make sure that their problems align with certain curriculum standards, educational objectives, that they're relevant to their students, and that they produce clean, solvable solutions. And for math teachers, this often means starting with the solution and then working backwards through the problem to make sure that all of the calculations throughout work out cleanly. A physics teacher that I spoke to said that the hardest part of his job was creating a tight multiple choice question. A math teacher at a VOTEC school mentioned spending countless hours reverse engineering problems so that struggling students could engage. Teachers often also think about the depth of knowledge levels when they're creating exams. They want problems to have, throughout the exam, to have a balance of recall level problems and then higher level thinking problems so that they can target specific exam averages and then differentiate between the higher scores. Creating an array of problems that meet all of these requirements and considerations and specifications is technical, it's exhausting, and it eats up nights and weekends. Current resources fail teachers. Static online problem banks and textbook banks exist, but they don't work. Teachers have complained to me that these banks are overly simplistic, fixed in difficulty, and impossible to adapt to the actual pace and needs of their classrooms. These problems are not aligned to students' specific struggles. They don't cover all of the depth of knowledge levels for all of the possible skills and subjects, and they're not customizable. So even though teachers have access to these resources, they're still spending countless hours scrounging the internet and often ending up frustrated and wasting precious time inventing their own problems from scratch. The market hasn't solved this. Traditional AI tools like ChatGPT are unreliable for education, lacking the trust and credibility that teachers need. What's needed in the market is a trustworthy tool that is a trustworthy tool that provides customized, specific, highly quality problems that meet every classroom's individual needs. That's where ExamWell comes in. ExamWell is the first AI-powered problem bank built with a teacher verification network at its core. Teachers generate highly specific problems by setting parameters such as subject, skill, question format, educational objective, like the depth of knowledge levels, and curriculum alignment. They can further customize problems by setting diverse names and themes that resonate with students, an approach proven to boost engagement and performance. What sets ExamWell apart is its teacher verification network, the most valuable aspect of the platform. When a teacher searches for a question, they first see other trusted problems that have been verified by other educators. Then ExamWell generates new problems for them to review and approve. Once verified, these problems are added to the growing database, reinforcing the network effect. So the more teachers that use ExamWell, the more powerful it becomes, creating a resource that is uniquely valuable and difficult to replicate. The next step for ExamWell is to go beyond manual customization and allow teachers to upload classroom-specific materials like student work and past assessments so that the platform can analyze patterns, identify areas that need reinforcement, and generate targeted, specific, personalized problems that address those skills. Next, we're going to jump into a quick demo video of the minimally viable product that I have coded and how it works.
Welcome to ExamWell's homepage, where teachers can create and find math problems customized to their classroom's exact needs. Immediately, we see the problem generator product. Let's say I am a geometry teacher, currently teaching the trigonometry unit, writing this week's quiz on solving for angles and side lengths and right triangles. I want this problem to have students apply their knowledge and for it to be a short answer problem. Studies show that using names from the primary demographic the school is serving in word problems or using topics that students are excited about increase their engagement and performance. In this case, my students have been talking about the new season of Outer Banks all month, so I want to make these quiz problems Outer Banks themed to boost their engagement. Now I'm going to press generate and wait as these parameters I've selected are being fed to advanced prompt engineering methods and fact-checking LLM architecture. Now I can see the generated problems. The key differentiator of ExamWell is our teacher verification network and verified problems database. Real teachers have generated similar questions before, so ExamWell pulled these top 2 questions from that previously generated and verified database. I can see here that teachers have used and trust these recommended problems. This one here is brand new. If I like this problem, I can decide to mark my use of it, and it will be added to the verified database for future teachers. If I want to only browse through teacher-verified problems, I can navigate to that growing database up here in the header as well.
Unlike generic AI tools, ExamWell's fact-checking LLM architecture has multiple verification. Unlike generic AI tools, ExamWell's fact-checking LLM architecture makes multiple generation passes and utilizes advanced prompt engineering methods to generate problems that are far better quality than an ordinary user would ever be able to pull out of ChatGPT. Our under-the-hood prompts are long and full of researched examples of every possible parameter. But the real value comes from combining AI specificity with teacher verification, making sure that every problem is credible, classroom-ready, recommended, and relevant. I've already started demoing ExamWell with teachers, and the responses have been overwhelmingly positive. Teachers have said that they appreciate that the customized problems resonate more directly with their students, and many teachers have responded that they would verify these problems. This feedback shows that I'm addressing a significant need in education. Unlike any of our competitors, ExamWell combines AI specificity with human teacher verification. CUDA, online problem banks like CUDA and other textbook banks are credible, but they are not specific enough. They are the kinds of banks that teachers have been complaining to me are overly simplistic, and they're not meeting their actual classroom needs. And these banks are not quick and easy to make exams. They require hours of poring through and adapting and reworking problems. Pair assessment offers AI-generated problems, but without the verification network, this is simply a wrapper of ChatGPT, and it's not credible or trusted by teachers. And pair assessment is also an exam administration platform, while we are a productivity tool for teachers. And despite teachers having access to these competitors, they are still turning to the status quo of scrounging for problems and making their own, which clearly fails on all of these fronts and is contributing to that really big teacher burnout rate that we are trying to get rid of. And this shows that there's a real need for a product like ExamWell in the market. ExamWell uses a freemium model to give teachers a taste to incentivize their purchase. The free version comes with limited generations and limited results, while the paid version has unlimited generations, unlimited results, unlimited access to the full verified database, and pre-solved answers to every question. This is $9 per month for teachers, which is $108 per year. And if you were to take a conservative estimate of a teacher's salary being $20 per hour, then if this saves them just half an hour over the course of a month, then it pays for itself. And teachers that I've spoken to said that they would gladly pay $9 if it meant getting hours of their life back. Based on market research of similar consumer subscription products in the education and productivity space, I estimate the customer acquisition cost to be $50. And a conservative estimate for the customer lifetime of a consumer subscription product is about 1 year of subscription. So for ExamWell, this is $108, which brings us to a customer value of $58. Because ExamWell operates as a software as a service model, ongoing costs are minimal, mostly limited to model inference and data hosting costs. And based on the current prompt size and usage assumptions, the API costs are estimated to be about 50 cents per user per month, which allows for strong margins and sustainable growth. Our total addressable market is all of the teachers, all of the homeschool parents, and all of the tutors throughout the United States, which is $625 million. The addressable market are those teachers, tutors, and homeschool parents who teach math, and the strategic beachhead market that I am addressing and selling initially into are middle and high school math teachers, which is $183 million. My go-to-market strategy begins by building trust and seeding the verification network, and driving signups to the beta program and waitlist. First, we'll release free teaser problems and engaging video content on TikTok and LinkedIn, directly targeting teachers with hashtags like TeachTalk and EdTech. We'll additionally partner with 2 to 4 micro-influencers like Miss Winders and At the Lem Teachy. These are trusted teacher creators to authentically promote ExamWell within their circles. Additionally, attending EdTech conferences and sponsoring small, niche educator newsletters like the Educator's Room will further help us reach our target audience. And finally, the referral program will reward teachers with a free month of access for bringing their peers in. Given the close-knit nature of teacher communities, this word-of-mouth approach will significantly amplify our growth. Over the next 6 months, I am planning on upgrading the current MVP to be ready and fully viable for full beta access to select teachers, which involves building out the user authentication, building the infrastructure for the verification database, and further calibrating our prompts. During development, I will launch the go-to-market strategy, which includes the boosted content, partnering with those influencers, getting sponsorships, or sponsoring the newsletters, and starting to launch the referral program to drive the growth of the waitlist. In a year, development will be finalized, and all of the feedback from the beta testing will be incorporated, and we will begin selling to that waitlist and to the initial market. Within 2 years, the verification network around ExamWell will be built out, and a robust moat will be created around the product, after which we'll expand into bulk district sales. I will spend $25,000 on development and customer acquisition to get to that 6-month goal and beyond. I will dedicate $15,000 to development and collaborating with a full-stack developer from Upwork. Here, I've laid out all of the development tasks that need to be done and their estimated costs based on research that I've done into similar projects. I will dedicate $10,000 to customer acquisition, including the social media costs, sponsorship costs, tools, and school visits. This investment will rapidly build initial traction and credibility. Over the next 6 months, I'm going to graduate college and begin working on ExamWell full-time. I'm planning on living at home with my parents so that I can dedicate all of the money towards ExamWell. This summer will be devoted to development and content creation, and in the fall I will focus on launching the beta program and diving deeper into marketing. Currently, I'm the sole founder of ExamWell, and I'm a computer science major with enough technical skills to build the MVP that I just showed, but I understand that bringing on someone with more full-stack development than I have would be very beneficial, so I am seeking a technical co-founder. But right now, my technical skills will power my collaboration with a developer. I'm also a writer, and my creativity and leadership skills have allowed me to interview teachers, understand their pain points, and ideate and build solutions for them. And these skills will power my continued iterations and my go-to-market strategy. I'm supported by a network of experienced mentors, including Quinn O'Brien, the CMO of Carnegie Learning, and experts in finance and storytelling to ensure strength across marketing and sales. Support me in giving teachers their unpaid hours back so that they can focus on what truly matters, shaping the next generation. Together, we can create a stronger, more sustainable educational system benefiting students and teachers everywhere. And special thanks to the Halloran Lab for their invaluable support this year. Thanks.
Great job. I think we're going to see a lot of interesting businesses that sort of combine some kind of human verification with AI generation. I like that for this. I think it makes a lot of sense. To me, it seems like you have a really tough cold start problem, right? And you want to add in customization, which is actually going to create an even bigger density problem, right? Where you add Outer Banks to something and all of a sudden there isn't anyone who's done that combination before. Without having lots of verified questions in the system from the start, it's hard to differentiate this from many other question generators. So how do you overcome that? How do you get to some density of verification so that the benefit of what you're trying to do here shines versus many other options that are out there?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely starting a startup that relies on a network effect is difficult to get started, but once it gets started, that's the moat that you have in the product. So the great thing about math is that the math is always the same, and it can be reused throughout different problems. So the Outer Banks example, the math that is used in those problems can easily be applied to other problems. So say instead of using the Outer Banks as the example that's being used for the word problem, a problem using that same problem structure can be verified for another context. And I think that my go-to-market strategy is addressing the start of getting the verified database built out. So releasing free teaser problems. I think that there are creative ways that I can get verifications before teachers are actually on it. So if teachers are appreciating the verified or the teaser problems that have been released, then those problems are verified. And I've also considered initially dedicating some money to pay teachers to go through and verify some problems or give them free access if that's the better investment so that they can help build out this network. And I think also the power of social media and micro-influencers really allows things like this to blow up. And I think what needs to be started is having the initial traction. And so that's what I'm looking for with this investment.
Have you thought about selling directly into the schools rather than to the teachers themselves in order to start that?
Definitely.
Yep.
So I originally was thinking of starting this as selling right to the districts, but as I've learned from talking to people that also sell to districts, like for example, Quinn O'Brien, who sells Carnegie Learning software to districts, I've learned that districts are tough to sell to because they have certain purchasing cycles. And the nice thing about this product is it's lighter weight than giant curriculums that they have to buy, but it's also more robust than just a wrapper of something. So it is able to fit in, if I price it correctly, to get purchased by districts without going through some major cycles. but I've decided to start with selling to teachers individually as a productivity tool first, especially to help build up that verification network. Because teachers are, they're overworked and they're looking for small things that they can buy to free up so much of their time. And I think that if I can start with teachers and I can build out the verification network, then I can move on to district sales in the future.
You started with the problem that teachers are kind of burnt out, and it's because they're spending so much of their outside of class time. I've got a bunch of friends that are teachers, and it strikes me that what they're always complaining about is actually the amount of time it takes to grade these exams, not the time it takes to write them. Have you thought about incorporating the grading into this that would also save additional time?
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting question because I knew that I wanted to help teachers from the beginning, so that's why I started this. But originally, I was looking at building a tool that would help automate grading for teachers. And so I went in to go interview all of these teachers and was asking about grading. And the feedback that I got from teachers was they actually appreciate grading because it helps show them where students are making the mistakes and helps them understand more like what the students need to learn and understand their classrooms more. And so they didn't want to give up automating grading. They're also very careful about what they trust to automate grading. And so they revealed to me this problem that I didn't even know existed, that they're spending so much time making these exams themselves. And through talking with them, I learned about all of the different complexities that I explained about like what it takes to make a problem and fitting all the problems together into the exam. And so I realized that that's the solution that they're looking for.